My friends, tonight I want to speak to you about a truth so simple, yet so revolutionary, that the ordinary mind will resist it at first. But if you remain with me, if you let these words sink beneath the level of opinion and into the depth of your being, they will set you free. Ignore the facts. Yes, I said it plainly. Ignore the facts. Turn away from them. Refuse to kneel before them. Give them no authority over your consciousness. And before you accuse me of speaking nonsense, let me explain what I mean. The facts are loud, are they not? They press upon you through the senses with great insistence. Your bank account displays a number. Your body appears to be in a certain condition. Your relationships seem to stand in a particular state. The world around you presents itself as though it were the final word on who you are, what you can have, and what is possible for you. From childhood, you have been trained to honor facts. Parents, teachers, society, circumstance itself has taught you to worship the visible, to respect the external, to accept the present condition as though it were absolute truth. But I tell you tonight that facts are not truth. Facts are only the residue of past assumptions. They are the visible trace of invisible beliefs that once occupied your mind. What you call a fact is merely yesterday made visible. It is the result of former states of consciousness, old thoughts, old feelings, old decisions, old inner conversations, all solidified into form. A fact is not the beginning of creation. It is the end of a process already completed in the invisible. It is a shadow cast by a state you once inhabited. And here is the great secret. A fact has no power except the power you continue to grant it. The moment you say, "This is how it is, therefore it must remain," you bind yourself to the dead past. But if you understand that what stands before you is only a delayed reflection, then you are no longer its prisoner. You become free to choose again. You become free to assume anew. Do not misunderstand me. I am not denying the appearance. I am telling you not to be governed by it. There is a difference between seeing something and surrendering to it. There is a difference between witnessing the old state and consenting to live within it. What you see before you now is simply the echo of a former self. It is not your destiny. It is not your final chapter. It is not the verdict on your life. The truth is not what your eyes report. The truth is what you hold in the silence of your imagination. The truth is the state you inhabit inwardly. The truth is the feeling you accept as real before the world has had time to agree with you. The outer world is always delayed. It mirrors the inner world, but not instantly. That is why, if you desire tomorrow to look different, you must cease allowing today to dictate your feeling now. You must refuse the tyranny of appearances. Ignore the facts. They will come to you in many disguises. They will speak through numbers, through symptoms, through delays, through other people's doubts, through the cold voice of common sense. The doctor may point to evidence. The banker may point to figures. A friend may point to your history. Your own senses may insist nothing has changed. But I tell you, facts are poor prophets. They only testify to what has already been. They know nothing of what you have chosen inwardly unless you give them your attention long enough to seal them in place. You are not called to worship what is visible. You are called to create from what is invisible. So keep assuming. Keep assuming the wish is fulfilled. Keep assuming the thing is already yours. Keep assuming the person you desire to be is already the one you are in consciousness. Walk through your day as one who has already received. Rise in the morning with the quiet satisfaction of fulfillment. Lay yourself down at night in the peace of possessions. Do not wait to feel worthy after the world changes. Feel worthy now. Do not wait to feel abundant after the money appears. Feel abundance now. Do not wait to feel loved after the person arrives. Feel loved now. The assumption is the seed. The feeling is the water. The world is only the harvest. At first, your senses may object. They will point to what has not yet shifted. They will show you the bank balance you dislike, the body you wish to improve, the relationship that has not yet arrived, the condition that appears fixed. Smile at these things. They are only remnants. They are the fading image of a life you have already outgrown. Do not fight them. Do not fear them. Do not honor them with emotional agreement. Simply let them pass. They belong to the old story. They are the dust of a previous chapter. They do not define the living truth of your being. Live from the end. This is the point most people miss. They are always trying to live toward the fulfillment, when they should be living from the fulfillment. They are always waiting to arrive, when the true creative act is to inhabit the place of arrival now. Reality is only a reflection. What stands before you is not a measurement of your worth, your destiny, or your potential. It is a mirror showing you what you once believed, what you once felt, what you once accepted as true about yourself and the world. Present conditions are old thoughts still wearing the costume of now. Just as a shadow follows the body that casts it, your outer world lags behind your inner state. It cannot do otherwise. The reflection cannot precede the image. The effect cannot appear before the cause. Therefore, do not let present circumstances tell you who you are. They can only tell you who you were. If you allow today's shadow to become tomorrow's prophecy, then you imprison yourself in repetition. You will keep recreating the very same condition because you have mistaken the reflection for the source. This is why you must stop reacting to what is and begin creating from what will be. Your inner world is always ahead of your outer world. By the time something can be touched, seen, measured, or reported, it has already been formed in consciousness. That means whatever displeases you now is not a final enemy. It is only outdated. It is a stale impression of an earlier assumption that no longer deserves your devotion. The danger comes when you emotionally merge with what you dislike. The moment you give your fear, your frustration, your resentment, or your despair to the old condition, you nourish it, you water it, you keep it alive. But the wise creator does not take present appearances as instructions for feeling. The wise creator knows that feelings are the architecture of tomorrow. So instead of bowing before the visible, they withdraw attention from the unwanted and place it deliberately upon the unseen reality chosen within. Treat the present like a letter mailed long ago. It has already been written. It has already been sent. It is now only arriving. If you want a different letter tomorrow, you must write something new today. When you understand this, your entire relationship to life changes. You no longer panic when the unwanted appears, because you know it is already passing away. You no longer rush to fix the outer scene, because you know the real work has already been done within. You stop begging the world to become what you want, and instead you tend to the only thing that truly matters, your state of being. This is the power of detachment from the old. Detachment does not mean indifference in the cold sense. It means freedom. It means you no longer identify with what has outlived itself. You do not argue with it. You do not curse it. You do not cling to it. You simply recognize that it is not current, not living, not final, not you. You can even thank it. Thank it for revealing where you once stood. Thank it for showing you what has now been outgrown. Then release it. Move on inwardly. Abide mentally in the place you wish to occupy outwardly, and hold that place with quiet persistence. In time, the old condition fades, and the world begins to catch up to the self you have already become. Then you will see with your own eyes what you once had to know by faith. Reality was never speaking the present truth. It was only speaking the past. Everything begins in the unseen. Before any event appears, before any change is recognized, before any dream becomes tangible, it first exists in the invisible realm of thought, feeling, and assumption. The unseen always comes first. The visible only follows. Your mind is the soil. Every assumption you accept is a seed planted deeply within that soil. Seeds of fear will grow, seeds of faith will grow, seeds of lack will grow, seeds of abundance will grow. The question is not whether something is growing. The question is, what have you been planting? The life you now walk through is the harvest of your inner cultivation. Most people make the mistake of judging life only by what their eyes can confirm. They forget that what is visible is the end of a process, never the beginning. A tree does not appear the moment you notice it. Long before it became visible, it was hidden as a seed under the earth. In like manner, the success you desire, the love you seek, the health you long for, the wealth you yearn to experience, do not materialize from nowhere. They begin the moment you assume them to be yours. They begin the moment you feel the reality of them within. That is why you must be intentional about the seeds you plant. Every thought that carries emotion, every assumption you repeatedly accept, every inner declaration you quietly agree with, is being dropped into the fertile ground of your subconscious. And once planted, it grows. Whether you acknowledge it or not, it grows. If you spend your days rehearsing fear, expecting disappointment, or feeding limitation, you are watering weeds. And weeds do not ask your permission to thrive. They flourish by attention alone. They spread because you continue to notice them, to react to them, to believe in them. But you are not helpless. You have the power to plant differently. You can assume that your desire is already fulfilled. You can treat that assumption as sacred. You can return to it again and again with reverence. When doubt appears, do not feed it. When appearances contradict your vision, do not be shaken by them. Remind yourself that these are only the final traces of old seeds. Let them pass without your consent. Do not dig up the seed every day to see whether it is growing. That is not faith, that is interference. Your task is to keep the soil warm with belief, to water the seed with gratitude, and to protect it from the choking vines of fear and frustration. The harvest will come. It must come. It grows according to law, not whim. You cannot rush a flower into bloom. You cannot force the unfolding by anxiety. The unseen will reveal itself in its own time, and no amount of worry will improve the process. When this becomes clear to you, you stop living like a victim of circumstance. You stop treating the outer world as the master of your destiny. You stop being deceived by appearances, because you know the invisible comes first. The moment you claim it within, the seed is planted. And once planted in consciousness, the harvest is inevitable. So stop tending the weeds. Stop feeding the unwanted with attention. Water the seed of your chosen reality with faith. Nurture it with gratitude. Live as though what you have claimed inwardly is already alive beneath the surface, growing silently into form. The moment you decide what you want, your task is not to wait for proof. Your task is to live from the end. This is where many fail. They decide what they desire. Then they stand still and scan the horizon for evidence. They look for signs. They measure progress by external movement. They wait, and in waiting, they create more waiting. They remain suspended between desire and fulfillment because they are still living as seekers instead of possessors. But you are called to be the one who already has. You must mentally and emotionally embody the person who has received. You cannot persist in the feeling of poverty and expect wealth to find expression. You cannot see yourself as unwanted and expect to be cherished. You cannot dwell in someday and expect the gift to arrive in the fullness of now. What you hold in consciousness becomes your experience, not what you admire from afar, but what you accept in the present. When you assume it is done, you stop treating your desire as a request and begin treating it as a fact. And this is not mere pretending. It is not forcing the mind against itself. It is the natural settling into a state of being where the assumption feels real because you have decided it is real. Ask yourself, if I already had it, how would I think? How would I speak? How would I walk? How would I treat myself? How would I respond to others? Then begin to live according to those answers. Do this even while the senses protest. At first, your outer world will still carry the residue of the old state. Do not let this discourage you. Outer conditions move slowly. They are the shadow, not the substance. The substance is the inward state you persist in holding. Your mind is the director. Your world is the stage. The moment you accept the role inwardly, the scene begins to reorganize outwardly. Do not wait for conditions to grant you permission to feel successful, happy, loved, or abundant. Decide to feel it now. Enter it now. Reside in it now. And when you do, the world will begin to reflect it in ways you could not have engineered by force. Opportunities will arise. People will respond differently. Events will assemble in your favor, not because you manipulated the world, but because you aligned with the version of yourself who already lives there. But the key is persistence. You cannot step into the role for an hour and then return to doubt for the rest of the day. You must hold the state as naturally as you hold your own name. Let it live in your posture, your words, your inner dialogue, your reactions, your silence. If you slip into the old habit, do not condemn yourself. Simply return, gently, firmly, lovingly, return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When you assume as though it is already done, you collapse the distance between desire and experience. You are no longer a person trying to get there. You are a person who is already there in consciousness. And consciousness always externalizes itself. The evidence will appear, but only after you have stopped demanding it and started living from it. Silence the senses. There will always be voices attempting to define your limits. Some will come from others, some will come from within. They will measure your potential by your present situation, your past failures, your family history, your finances, your body, your age, your circumstances, or their own limited imagination. If you allow these voices to govern you, you will remain trapped in the world they describe. But the truth is that outer opinions and visible conditions have no authority except what you grant them. They are powerless unless you accept them. Often they come disguised as reason, practicality, or being realistic. Yet all they truly do is bind you to the known and the seen, while keeping you from the unseen where your desire already exists in seed form. If you desire something new, you must learn to silence these voices. You do not silence them by arguing. You do not silence them by trying to win the approval of the world. You silence them by withdrawing your energy from their narrative. You decline to participate in their verdict. Your senses will also try to persuade you. They will bring numbers, images, circumstances, and reports that seem immovable. They will whisper, "Look, nothing has changed." But your senses are historians, not prophets. They can only report what has already passed through consciousness. They cannot announce the future. They can only describe the residue of the past. So when what you see contradicts what you desire, remember, this is only the fading echo of an older belief. This is why inner discipline is essential. You must become the guardian of your own mind. When doubt speaks, redirect your attention. When fear presents its case, refuse to sit in its courtroom. When the world laughs at what you have not yet seen, smile inwardly and remain faithful to the unseen reality you have chosen. Bless them if necessary, and return to your inner knowing. The power to manifest is not found in getting the world to agree with you. It is found in agreeing with yourself so fully that the world must eventually conform. Every time you yield to the outer world, you water the seeds of doubt. Every time you return to your chosen assumption, you strengthen the roots of your new reality. There will be moments when the silence feels heavy. There will be moments when it seems easier to surrender to the loudest voice or to accept the facts because they are visible and immediate. But remember this: every great change begins in hiddenness. Every transformation begins in the quiet place where belief is cultivated without interference. Guard that place. Protect it. Keep it free from the weeds of doubt and fear. Ignore the doubters. Ignore the circumstances. Ignore even the report of your senses when they disagree with your desire. The only voice that matters is the voice within that says, with quiet certainty, it is done. Persist through contradiction. Persistence is the unwavering decision to remain faithful to your chosen assumption, no matter what the world presents. It is the understanding that the outer world is slow to reflect inner change, and that during the delay, the old state may still appear strong, solid, and convincing. Many abandon their vision in this interval. They think nothing is happening because nothing yet appears. But in truth, everything is happening beneath the surface. The unseen is moving. The seed is breaking open. The world of form is rearranging itself. The old reality is like a shadow. It lingers for a while after the light has shifted. Just because you cannot yet see the new conditions does not mean they are not on their way. The instant you assume the desire as true, creation began. But if you keep looking for constant proof, you remove yourself from the very state that makes fulfillment inevitable. Proof is the harvest. Assumption is the seed. The seed does not need you to inspect it every hour. It needs trust. It needs consistency. It needs the warmth of conviction. It will grow according to its own divine order. Persistence means living in your chosen reality even while the evidence resists you. It means refusing to let temporary appearances dictate your emotions. It is not stubbornness. It is loyalty. Loyalty to the vision you have chosen. Loyalty to the self you have declared. Loyalty to the inward fact that precedes the outer one. When the outer contradicts you, do not wrestle with it. Do not debate with appearances. Simply return to the inner world where the desire is already fulfilled. There will be times when nothing seems to move. You may feel as though you are standing still while your dream remains distant. In those moments, remember that movement is happening in a realm you cannot yet observe. People are aligning. Events are shifting. Doors are preparing to open. Your responsibility is only to keep the inner state alive. Remain the one who already has what is desired, even in the absence of visible evidence. That is faith. Not faith in luck, not faith in chance, but faith in the law that the inner creates the outer. When you know this, time loses its tyranny. Time becomes irrelevant because the outcome is no longer uncertain. The only question is whether you will hold your assumption long enough for it to take form. And when you do, you become unshakable. You no longer chase proof because you understand proof must come. You stop measuring success by what can be seen and begin measuring it by your fidelity to the state you have chosen. Then one day, the world bends naturally to your assumption, as though it could never have been otherwise. The old reality fades like a dream. The new one stands before you, not because you demanded it through strain, but because you persisted until the invisible became visible. In the end, the power to transform your life lies not in reacting to what you see, but in mastering what you assume. What stands before you today is only the echo of previous beliefs. It is the shadow, not the source. The true source of every experience is the quiet, unwavering assumption held within your own consciousness. So ignore the facts. Persist through contradiction. Live in the state of the wish fulfilled. Refuse to be a victim of appearances and become instead the conscious creator of your life. Do not wait for the world to change. Change your assumption, and the world must follow. The seed has already been planted. Trust the unseen. Guard your inner vision. Know that what you have claimed in consciousness is already yours. The harvest is certain. Walk forward as the one who has already received, and watch reality rearrange itself to reflect the beautiful fact you have claimed within. Thank you, and good evening. This is Neville Lectures. I'll see you again in the next video.